Morning, grade 2 friends. It's Mrs. Stolt again, and here we are to go through some math and some social studies information for you for this week. Today's lesson is going to be finding the perimeter. Remember, when we find the perimeter, we find the area around the outside of a shape. So if you think about your garden, your perimeter would be if you put a fence around the outside of your garden, what would that measurement be? And you have a worksheet to do with this, and it's going to be asking you to measure in centimeters. So on the board here, I have put a meter stick, which is 100 centimeters, and then comparing it to a regular yardstick, a 3-foot yardstick, okay? You can notice that it's a little bit longer, all right? You don't need to use a meter stick or a yardstick to measure on your worksheet today. You'll actually use your own ruler. And let me show you here just a second what that will look like. So if you take out your regular ruler, okay, and we've been measuring with the inches before, and now you need to just flip that around, and you should each have a centimeter side, okay? And you'll notice there are about 30 centimeters on your ruler. Now, just like when you're measuring with your inches, you have to find out on your ruler, where do you have to start? On this ruler that I show you here, you have to start at this line that's right by the MM, what stands for millimeter, which is all those teeny tiny little marks, and then cm, which is each of the numbers that you see here. That's 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, and so on, okay? So make sure that you line that up where you're supposed to start, all right? And then measure on the centimeter side for your worksheet. Measure on the centimeter side. And now really watch and be careful with that. I'm going to switch back to my other view. Here I am. Watch and be careful with that, because sometimes on your name and your date segment now, they're going to be asking you to do a line with centimeters rather than inches. So just be careful of that, okay? And watch for that. So on your worksheet page, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be measuring around the outside of each shape, and then you will add each of those measurements together. So let's say, for example, I'm just going to make up a problem here. Let's say you have a rectangle, and on that rectangle, one side is 2 centimeters, and the other side, the longer side, is 8 centimeters. Well, on a rectangle, if one side is 2 centimeters, you know that the other side is 2 centimeters as well. The same can be true if you know this side is 8 centimeters and it's a rectangle, you know that this side is 8 centimeters as well. And then you'll notice there inside each of the shape, there's a spot for you to write your equation. And so on that line inside your shape, you would write 2 plus 8 plus 2 plus 8. And so our perimeter here, 2 plus 8 is 10. Another 2 plus 8 is another 10. 10 and 10 is 20, would be 20 centimeters. And we want to make sure that we have our measurement there as well. And cm is what stands for centimeters, okay? So that's how you'll do that worksheet page to find the perimeter, which is the outside measurement of any object, okay? I know they have triangles and other shapes there. So if you're doing a triangle, how many numbers will you be adding? Just 3, because you have 3 sides. On a rectangle or on a square, you'll be measuring 4, okay? All right, so I hope you do just fine on that lesson. If you have any questions, make sure that you give me a holler by phone or send me a message. Also, be practicing those takeaway 8s and takeaway 7s, because that will be your test tomorrow, okay, on your time test. So really practice those today so that you can get all 25 in the 60 seconds, all right? And now the next thing that I want you to work on today and tomorrow is the American Cultures page for Studies Weekly. So read that on your Studies Weekly website. It's week 17. Okay, and be thinking about different cultures, and then be thinking about your own culture. What are some things that are special to your family? Holidays or foods that you eat that are special to your family in particular. Like, how do you celebrate birthdays? How do you celebrate Christmas? How do you celebrate Easter? Do always do something special on the 4th of July? Or what about your own birthday? Are there certain things that you do then? And on the inside, you'll be reading about the food for different cultures, the holidays they might observe, and different languages, of course. And even the clothing that we wear is part of our culture, and the houses that we live in, all of those types of things. How we greet one another is part of our culture as well. And then take some time to do the back side. You have a Venn diagram to fill out here, and on your Venn diagram, if you don't have enough room to write each of the words completely, just put the first initial of it. And for candy bar, for example, you could just write CB. You could do those 2 initials, and then each one has its own. All right. So work on this today and tomorrow, and Wednesday I'll go through the answers with you, okay? And then we'll take a test on it. Make sure that you're still doing your weather report for science, and I want you to do that for 5 days total, okay? And so for 5 days you would have done that, and then you're going to compare what the weather was like during those days on the back of your weather science paper, okay? So make sure you're still doing that for a couple of days. And in a day or so, we're also going to start reading about the moon in our science as well. And that you would find in your page about space. Okay, so if you want to start looking at that one, you can. It's not assigned yet, but if you'd like to start looking at it, sometimes it's hard to wait, I understand. And then check out what the moon is doing each night as well. That's kind of fun as well. Make sure that you're reading for your AR goal and practicing your memory treasures, and then also your spelling words. I wasn't able to get the spelling words up on Spelling City yet, but I'll do that in just a few minutes here once I'm done recording, and then those new words will be up for you as well. If you notice on your calendar, I asked you to take a spelling test on Spelling City on Wednesday. Okay, so on Wednesday. So do some activities on Spelling City. And if you also have any questions on how to do the DT3 new little education thing that we're doing, make sure you give me a holler on that as well. All right, have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.